With a new year comes a fresh start. And many of us are still hopeful about what this year will bring for us, thanks to the resolutions we made for ourselves.
Yes.
But for some of us, the one thing that could be holding us back from seeing these plans through is actually guilt. Professor Susan Cross Whitbourne from the University of Massachusetts Amherst says guilt can make you feel defeated, anxious, and depressed. And guilt also comes from expectations we set for ourselves. What do you guys feel about guilt, and how has it affected you?
I understand what you're saying, Tamara, because guilt can really bring people through a series of emotions that can weigh so heavily that it begins to show on them. I never quite understood it until actually recently. I lied to a family member of mine. And at the time, I really thought I was protecting this family member. I thought that I was making the most protective decision in lying to them about actually money, because I didn't want them to know a certain amount of money that they had, because I was afraid it would keep them in the position that they're in. They're in a harmful position right now for themselves, and so I kept them from them. And what ended up happening, as most lies do, it ended up spiraling. It ended up having to be kept up over a year. Other family members had to be involved in the lie, and it actually made this person spiral into a depression because of the lie, and when they found out, dove them deeper into it where I couldn't even reach them. It is one of the most, it's one of the most guiltiest things I feel about myself today, because I call myself a Christian, you know, I do love God, you know, and I chose this path because I want to have that North Star to look forward to. I want to emulate something that's better than I know I am myself. So in that moment, what I did wrong is I tried to play God. But I don't realize that until now. So at this very moment, this is actually the first year where we're getting to that place. I'm trying to rebuild with that person because I've really lost them. And now they're in a place where they're just not trusting anybody. They've built walls and they've begun to abuse themselves. But it really is the most horrible thing that I've learned, that you cannot control somebody's life, and you can never lie and actually keep the dark in the dark, because God will always reveal that to light, and it's not right.
But Jeannie, I want to ask you something, though. You know, when you told the lie, you thought you were helping the person?
Yes.
And I think that was the thing that you thought. I hear what you're saying, and you said, you know, you can't play God, but when I hear your story, I don't know about I don't hear you saying you were playing God. I think you were trying to, in your mind, you thought you were helping them.
I know, yes, but I think maybe, I don't know if parents go through this, but a lot of parents, my parents have lied to me in order to think that they're protecting me. But you guys, you can't lie to someone you love. There's no way a lie actually turns out right. And I don't care what anybody else thinks. For me, I will never believe a lie is okay. So today, I understand what you're saying, and I tried to do the right thing, but 2017 for me is about learning my mistake and now being that example that I know I look towards and want to be and can be by living each day with the truth, even if that means how bad I'm hurting.
I feel you.
That's awesome.
Tam?
I applaud you for being honest, Jeannie.
Yes.
For me, I think mine is probably going to be the obvious. And that is mom guilt. But it's real. Damn it, now I'm going to cry. I hate that.
And what is mom guilt?
What's mom guilt?
Okay, first of all, I just need to get something off my chest. I feel like some people don't like the fact that I talk about my children and my family a lot. But what they have to realize is that my family is my life. And it should be right now. There's a difference between parenting your children and raising your children. I'm raising mine right now. They're under the age of 5. what people need to understand is if they're not moms, they need to get that this time in their life is probably the most important. 5 and under, it is, it's true. Their brain development is going quick and fast.
Right.
And their experiences shape their characteristic.
They change every day.
Yes, their experiences shape who they are as people. And I'm not there all the time to see it. I want to be there every day. Mm-hmm. In a perfect world, I wouldn't want a caregiver. That's just the type of person that I am. Mm-hmm. But I also want to provide for my family.
Yeah.
And I want to be a positive example for my kids that they can grow up and do anything that they want to do. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I don't get to spend that time with them. Mm-hmm. And I just want my children to love me just as much as their dad, because he's there a little bit more than I am. And I think working mothers, we're amazing, by the way. They will understand when I say that. Just because mommy's not there doesn't mean that I don't love you. I'm working because I do. Mm-hmm. So I experience that every day. Sometimes y'all may not know, but I do. I do. And on the weekends, I try to do my best, but sometimes I just feel it's not good enough, honestly.
So is it that you feel guilty that you have to work when you think you should be with your children more?
Yes, and sometimes people don't understand that, but you'll understand it once you're a mom, and especially once you see social media and you see these moms posting pictures of their kids, like every single second, every single moment, like going to the park with them, going to classes with them, music class. I'm not able to do that.
That makes sense now, because obviously we're on our own social media pages and we read our, the real Instagram and social and Facebook and all that, and we see sometimes people ask that, but I've always thought when it's so ridiculous, you just flick them off and you don't think about it. But I understand that it actually penetrates you because it feeds the guilt that's already there.
Yes.
And then the reason why you speak so much about the kids here is because it's subliminally the only thing on your mind, because that's where you want to be.
And right now in my life, I'm raising my children. Yeah. If I weren't talking about them, then they would be saying, oh, you're the unavailable mom. How come you never talk about your kids?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I just feel like you can't please everybody.
Well, let me tell you something, Tam, okay? Because we've had these conversations before. Number one, I tell you, forget what other people are thinking and saying, okay? I know your kids, okay? And I see how you interact with your children. They love you so much, and I know you know that, but I know sometimes you need to hear that. And I see it, and I know it. So you're not doing anything wrong, but you got to stop letting... Sometimes get off those comments. Stop listening to what people are saying. You know what you're doing. You're doing the right thing. But I mean, I feel for you because, I get life from you.
Oh, thanks,
So
Mommy.
I want you to know that. So don't stop letting people get into your head. You are doing just fine. Your kids will be just fine.
Better than fine. You're doing
And
great.
Great.
Thank you.
You want to do it all, but you don't realize that that's what makes you a dynamic woman. Is that you feel so much. You want to do it all here, and you also want to be that and more there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you downplay how much you are there for, too.
Exactly. You trying to
really
act like
do.
you ain't never there. You
You are always there. I see all the videos.
Yes.
She comes here and she shows us she's so proud of every little thing they do, every word they say, every step Araya takes.
Thank you.
You're a phenomenal mom.
And they can come here.
I know.
They welcome anytime.
He's in school.
I have to tell you, though, coming from a mom who worked my entire life, yes, I didn't see my mom and dad, and yes, I was a latchkey kid.
Yeah.
But I will tell you that today I would never change one thing about the way I grew up, because, number one, I have independence. You see me. I'm alone a lot of the time, and I'm able to care for myself, and I'm not afraid, and I don't depend on anybody except God in order to be who I am. That's number one. Number two, I respect a hard-working woman who can be that Proverbs 31 example, who can do everything, and you are that thing.
Oh, my God, thank you.
You are so that. true.
And I think the last blessing, before we get over to you, is that you have a husband that cares for your children while you're away.
That is
so true. I think, I know you might have the guilt, but like I said, if I feel bad about something, I start thinking why and processing it, and I try to think about the good things that's happening. Your kids are growing up. You may not get to see them when you go home tonight, but you can look at them. You may not be able to interact, but you're able to look at them,
That is
and
true.
you know that they're okay and that they're safe and that they're
is
sound.
true.
So just try
Thank
to
you
keep
for that
remembering
perspective,
that.
Lonnie. Thank you. I appreciate that.
I recognize that just listening to you guys talk, a lot of our guilt is attached to family. And I wonder why that is. You know, obviously those are the things that matter to us the most. And a lot of my guilt, I try not to have that much like you, but one of the things that has bothered me most recently has been exposing my family to some of the not so nice things that come with being in the industry. You know, I think we don't realize how much it hurts our family when people say, we can handle it, we can take it if somebody talks bad about us. But like, when you have a mom that goes on there and reads those things about a child, or you have, which now me and Israel have, you know, with the kids, and for them to read those things, I feel guilty. I feel guilty for exposing them to that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
To the idea of, and just recently I told you I was in church and I asked Iz, you know, I just want to say sorry to the kids. Because somewhere in my heart I feel like they should never read things about their dad that are like that. And I know those things wouldn't have come if he wasn't dating me. You know what I mean? And some of those things, people almost want to go on a witch hunt to find dirt on somebody because they're attached. And I recognize that this man has been successful for years. Not a bad word said about him. He starts dating me, and there was so much to say, not just about, you know, family things. And it just, that broke my heart. Again, I can take it, I can handle it, but I don't like seeing the people I love being torn down, torn apart, and being spoken badly about, especially when it's not true. So that guilt stayed with me, and just until recently, I was able to have a real conversation. I thank God that there's such incredible, strong children. I thank God I have a mom that knows better. I have a mom that uplifts me and can look into my face and be like, I know who my baby is. And that makes a difference. But just until recently, just being able to say I'm sorry helped me deal with some of that guilt. Just being able to say I'm sorry, even if indirectly things I didn't intend hurt you, I'm so sorry.
Adrian, I will say this. When I was at your wedding, the one thing that I really took away was the fact that those children love you.
Yes.
Mariah
Yes.
said a prayer,
Yes.
and it was beautiful. Because I've never seen the dynamic of, stepchildren. I haven't. And if there's going to be a positive and beautiful example, it's what I saw. So you don't have to worry about that, because those children, they love you just as you are.
They do.
And they know who you are. And that was beautiful to see.
And your children now, more than anything, they see how you love Israel. We see how you love Israel. And that love is incomparable to anything in their entire life. That Israel is a different man because of you. And Israel asked you to marry him. Israel put that ring on your finger, and Israel swept his family into your arms and made this a full circle of love because of you. That wouldn't have happened because of you.
Yeah. And it's gonna, we live in some different times right now, and your social media, as you can tell, is a big part of our lives, and this is something that, we signed up for. Before we go, I just want to check back in with you. Did you apologize to your family member? Are you okay?
I think sometimes some people need some time to really accept an apology. I did, but I got to get myself out of this guilt, because I know I could do better, and I should have done better, but I'm going to do that from here on out.
That's awesome.
That's beautiful. We love you.